Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic Monday. Today we are doing a product review on the Happybuy Reptile Incubator. I picked this incubator up earlier this year for about $190 on Amazon. It is the white version of it, and so far it's worked really nice for me. Now on Amazon for reptile incubators, there's a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people say, oh, they're great, oh, they killed my eggs. So I just wanted to give you my point of view on it today, and we're going to be reviewing this incubator that I have here. I'm going to go over some of the features first. I thought that would be a good way to show you kind of how it works and what it's about, and then we'll kind of talk a little bit about where you can get them and, are they worth it or not. You can see right off the bat though, this incubator does look good. It's got a nice design to it in my opinion, not that it really matters, but you'll notice that it also has a really nice sort of big plastic clear front that you can see in. Now I didn't realize this was a thing, but some of the incubators don't have clear fronts. You can't see into them. So, that's kind of annoying. But you can see it also has 4 really simple buttons on the front. It's got your on and off button, pretty self-explanatory. It's also got your LCD temperature display, your temperature up, temperature down, and then a light button. There's a light inside of the incubator in case you want to look at your eggs. So far, pretty easy to use. Here's the vents where the air comes out right in the back in the middle. And a nice thing about this incubator too is it has a very sturdy handle. So I'll try and bump it open here. Let's see. Oh, nope, not going to wiggle open on you. So if you were to bump into this for some reason or, accidentally move it a little bit, jolt it, the door's not going to come open loose and then you're going to lose all your nice cold air in there. It is a very nice sturdy latch. It's kind of hard to describe in a video, but if you have the incubator, you'll definitely be able to tell. It's pretty sturdy and well made. Another nice feature on this incubator, something I didn't expect, is that it also has a top handle. Now this is good in case you had to, say, move your incubator for some reason. You don't have to take all the eggs out. You can just whip the plug out and move it wherever you want and carry it like that. So that's really handy because it is pretty big and bulky. Taking a trip around the back here though, let's take a look at what we got going on for power. So you'll see there's pretty simple switches back here. You got your normal and your mute. You also have your different types of power. Now AC is going to be plugged into your wall, and you can see that it also has a DC cord here. That's going to be plugged into your car. Let's say you were moving for some reason or you needed to move your incubator to a different property. You can take your incubator full of your eggs and use your nice handy top handle, and you can take this, switch it to DC, plug it into your car, and all your eggs are going to be temperature controlled all the way wherever you're going. So that's very handy. And I think it's also funny it says mini fridge on the back here, considering that's what it looks like. But that was just something I thought it's kind of interesting. So pretty simple to use. There's less than 10 buttons on the entire incubator. It's pretty much just a plug and play kind of deal. You can see overall though, very sleek looking, very nice in my opinion. And it does feel very sturdy and well built. Now let's go ahead and let's power on our bad boy, see what it's like. You can see all the buttons have a nice light behind them too, lights up nice. And you can see that the temperature in our incubator is going down. And that's because I have it set to cool. I actually have it set between 22 and 23 Celsius, which is roughly 71 to 73 Fahrenheit. So while this turns on, it'll cool down. And that's another plus about this specific incubator is you can cool and heat. And that's the reason I bought it, is because I wanted to cool the eggs down. I don't want them warmer. When they're warmer, they'll hatch out smaller, and if they're cooler, they'll hatch out larger, and generally speaking, larger and a little bit, more matured, I guess you could say. And that's something you want. You don't really want little weak hatchlings. The only con about this incubator is that it is in Celsius, but other than that, so far this incubator has been fantastic. But now enough about the incubator. Let's take a look at how I keep the babies in here. This is the important part. So you can see I have 2 deli cups here, and I have a bunch of little scribbles on it. Now I will admit I need a better way to keep the babies for next year, and I will figure that out, but this is what I did this year. So let's flip it around here and look at some of our eggs that we got. I only have 3 left. So what I did is I have the mother's code, APL, which stands for Apple. I have 90 days from the day they were laid, so that's about when they should hatch. So in theory, these ones should hatch between January and December. And I also have a number of eggs that are in the container. So you can see 2 means there was 2 laid by Apple. And then this one, 1, means there was 1 laid. So I know how many of each one there was. I also am using these kind of big containers. I think next year I'll use smaller ones, but I also need a better way to label them. I haven't really decided how I'm going to do that yet, but it was kind of a mess this year. Thankfully, I didn't mess anyone up and, pick the wrong parents for them. It was just that this year was kind of a mess, and I need a better way to label them. You can see that the lids are a mess, and yeah. So I can figure that out, but that's just how I labeled them this year. Parent code, 90 days from the day they were laid, because that's about how long it'll take. This year, I would say the average hatch rate was about 100 to 110 days, so I may have to update that in the future, but that's what I did. Parent code, day they were supposed to hatch, and how many eggs. Now, what I also did to make things less confusing is I labeled each individual egg. You can kind of see I put APL on this egg, which stands for Apple, in her code. That way I would know in case they hatched out at the same time. Like, let's say Apple and Julia's hatched out at the same time and they weren't labeled. They're both patternless reds, so how would I know? But this way, I could tell who hatched and when. That's just one thing to keep in mind, is you got to kind of find your own system on how you're going to label eggs. I think this year was a little bit too confusing, so if I figure that out or a better way to do it, I'll let you know. But you can see here that you can fit roughly 4 containers per level. If we just move these around, you can fit about 4 of them on a shelf. So I also figured it out. I did the math. If you use these size containers, which I believe are the 8 ounce, I want to say, you can stack about 5 high if you don't have the shelf in here, which would mean you could have 8 eggs per container, 4 per level, and 5 high. So you could have roughly 160 eggs in this incubator at one given time. So that's going to come in pretty handy. I mean, I don't think most of you guys are breeding more than 160 babies a year. Holy cow. Look at that. We were just talking about babies hatching, and one of them literally hatched just in this video. What are the chances of that? Okay, so we have a little new baby here out of Apple and Enzo, which are 2 patternless reds. So that's pretty crazy. What are the chances that we were just talking about these little babies and it hatched during while I'm recording this video? That's pretty cool. You can see it looks like a nice little red. We'll take him out in a little bit and see what he looks like, but that's pretty cool. He's pretty spastic. And I'll probably leave him in here for a couple hours just to kind of chill, because he came out of that egg pretty fast, and usually they sit there for a little while and absorb the remainder of the egg. So that was pretty cool, but 160 eggs you can fit in this incubator, give or take. So, and that's at one time. And if your geckos are hatching about every 100 days or so, you can have 2 hatch, say, and then put 2 more eggs in and have 2 more hatch, that kind of deal. So you can fit quite a lot of eggs in this incubator. This is more than enough room for me. I only had, I think, about 50 or 60 babies this year. So plenty of room. This is 25 liters, which is equivalent to 6 gallons. Now, one thing I noticed is that Amazon also has 5-liter incubators for $155. Unless you're going to be breeding, 10, you're going to have 10 babies in a year, do not buy a 5-liter incubator. Spend the extra 30 or 40 bucks and get a big one like this. Just something to keep in mind. But let's grab our little baby actually out and let's take a look and see what he looks like without the lid on. That's pretty much going to do it for this incubator review. You can pick these up for about $180 to $225, depending on the time of the year, over on Amazon. Now, you're going to notice that a lot of the incubators that look like this have sketchy reviews, I would say. This one has 3.8 stars as we speak, and the Exoterra one, which is very similar, has 3.6. Some people will say it killed all their babies. Some people will say it's fantastic. So it's kind of hit or miss, I feel like. And I just wanted to give you guys my point of view on how this incubator was. You can see this is a beautiful little red baby, though. Proof that the incubator works right in the video. And the reason you buy an incubator is to hopefully maintain better temperatures. In my case, I noticed that in spring it would be pretty cool, maybe 70, 72 degrees in my house, and then by midsummer it's 76, 78. So geckos that were hatching out in the summer were a lot smaller, I feel like personally, than the ones that were hatching out in spring where it was 70 degrees. And I just wanted a better overall control on, the temperature at which they're incubating at. That's why I ended up buying this incubator. I've been using it all year. So far, it's been fantastic to me. It didn't kill any of my eggs or anything like that. So anyway, a quick review. Just make sure that it can heat and cool, because that's going to be important. Most of you are going to want to cool your eggs around 70 to 73 degrees. Also, just make sure that it is a 25 liter or an appropriate size for how many eggs you want to have, because it can be confusing when it says it's 5 liters. That's very small. So just make sure you're getting the right size you want. And with that, I think an incubator is a great investment. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next week's video.